Alright people, welcome back to the Worldcast. This once again is a sports edition. I'm here with Jamal, and this is the NBA reaction to the 2013-2014 season. LeBron James and his Miami Heat versus Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs, who are now world champs, and rightfully so. San Antonio Spurs exposed, in my eyes, and I think everybody else's, was Miami's depth, their bench, heart, tenacity, the fight, the braveness and the balls to take threes when you're down by 15, not always taking the easiest shots. They passed and passed and passed on Miami and burned them out, and did amazing zones and kept LeBron almost out the game, and kept him mentally out the game, and showed what the equation comes out to when you have big men that can score and defend the ball. Miami has Chris Bosh, who's 6'10", 6'11", give or take, what type of shoes he has on, and he's 230 pounds. And it shows you how small they are when LeBron is 250 pounds and outweighs Tim Duncan, who's 6'11". Oh no, legitimate 7-footer. I apologize. 6'11", 6'11". And you have somebody 6'10" who cannot handle somebody like Tim Duncan, who is in the last few remaining years of his career. What I read on LeBron's face, and I asked you more with what you saw, I saw somebody who in my eyes is saying, I'm going to get the hell out of here if you don't give me any talent. And I see somebody who's going to have to cut some ties with some friendships, some D-Wade and Chris Bosh, in order to solidify his future as an NBA champion. Heart and tenacity are big, huge gel parts to a team in the NBA, which is forever changing because of free agency. I saw in LeBron's eyes frustration. I saw disbelief. I saw, oh my God, I might have to lose some friends in order to surpass Jordan, in order to surpass, he won't surpass a Bill Russell ever. If he can get around the 5 mark, he really solidifies himself as one of the greatest of all time. He's already one of the greatest regular seasons, I said, over the course of his career, of all time, just based on his performance and what he does. And LeBron does score in losing games. He does score in effort, but the one thing LeBron, in my eyes, is he lacked this year that I saw last year that I thought was over, was the ability to have clutch and take the shot in the winning, and take the shot in the heat of the moment while down. Take control of the ball, go towards the hoop with his 260-plus pound frame, and just score, just take it on. I think his legs might have been a little taxed, especially after the cramping, the social media blitz, and I don't want to ramble on too far, but I'll ask him all. This is the reason I have him here, because his sports knowledge is pretty vast and deep. What did you see in LeBron's eyes coming off that court in Game 5?
Not only disbelief, but disappointment. And LeBron took a different approach going into the playoffs, as far as he was a very, very unselfish person.
Well, that's kind of like he
trusted his teammates, and no one else stepped up.
Nobody.
With no Chris Bosh, no Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was non-existent. He did pretty decent.
Legs a shot.
He did pretty decent against Indiana, which he averaged 15 points per game in that Indiana series. Right. But in the finals, he was non-existent. I've seen Miami, besides LeBron James itself, what LeBron James did in that series, what he needed to do, scoring-wise. As far as getting his teammates involved and trusting his teammates for someone to step up, but there was no one that equally dominated and take over the game. And when you have Dwayne Wade, which is he's in his 17th season, going to his 18th season, there's a lot of questions.
Right. No, they're all the class of 03. They're in their 11th season.
Yeah, but LeBron came in.
You're talking about Tim. You're talking about Tim Duncan. You switched up your.
No, not Tim Duncan.
You said D-Wade or Tim Duncan?
Not D-Wade.
Okay, no, he's going into his same class. LeBron.
Same class. 03, yes.
Yeah. Draft class.
LeBron came in when he was 17, so. It was different from Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade coming out of Marquette.
Right, he's older. That's why. But this is the thing about him.
But I was thinking of LeBron.
D-Wade took the beating before LeBron will get there. He sacrificed his body years ago, and he's starting to catch up with him now.
He's starting to catch up with injuries,
right?
But I think this is one of the seasons where he was healthy and in need to play.
I mean, they cut down his minutes significantly, 800 to 900 minutes off from his last season, 2,300 compared to like 1,600. Yeah. You know, and LeBron all season.
But I just didn't see, I just didn't see the same explosiveness.
It's gone. The legs are shot.
I mean, I just didn't see, the jumping, explosiveness.
Nobody did.
His ability
Some games
to
he showed life.
Yeah, his ability to score and take over a game, I just didn't see that from Dwayne Wade. And you need a complement scorer just like Durant and Westbrook.
Right. But that's a very rare combination.
They don't need each other. And either one of those players can equally dominate and take over a game. If Durant, it's not me.
If Durant wants to fall back, Westbrook can step up. Westbrook wants to fall back. Well, he never will.
Either one of them can equally take over.
All right, hold on. Let's stay on this path right here. First of all, let's talk about San Antonio for a little bit. San Antonio was. I really, everybody says, oh, San Antonio basketball is boring. San Antonio basketball throughout the playoffs was absolutely, their highlights are the tape you show AAU players. Their highlights, their game tapes are the tapes you show your
team. A very good coach team.
Right.
It's just like Popovich, which I didn't touch on. Popovich, they said if Miami Heat, which they had since Miami Heat was going to be there, I predicted it was going to be a rematch from last year's finals. And they had all the motivation going into the regular season and going into the final. Miami was going to be there. They seen that Miami was going to be there. They had all the motivation. I think they just studied. They left a bad taste in their mouth.
They're playing with chip on
all the necessary adjustments, and I really think they just studied. And took from that last final, they made the necessary adjustments and improvements. That's what and Miami wasn't prepared for that. They wasn't prepared. They thought it was going to be the same San Antonio team. With San Antonio, like I said,
on top of them being prepped, they shot the lights out.
They shot extremely well. You had Kawhi Leonard that stepped up,
right, big time.
And then, of course, Danny Green that stepped up.
Right.
You had Patty Mills that stepped up.
Yep.
And Manu Ginobili here, one of his best playoffs. But I thought he was deserving of the Finals MVP.
Manu?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I take nothing away from Kawhi.
I think they gave it to the right one.
He did, but I personally thought it would have been. I thought it would be
Manu. And he's Argentinian. Patty Mills from Australia.
Yeah, Patty Mills, man.
What's the guy that won the 3-point contest? Bellinelli. He's Italian.
But he was non-existent. They didn't utilize him too much. But they made all those necessary adjustments as far as the ball movement. They knocked down their shots. Even when Miami was giving
Popovich said, take great shots now. Even if you have a good shot, pass it to someone that has a great shot.
And they spread the ball.
And they burnt Miami out.
Yeah.
They burnt Miami out.
I think Miami wasn't prepared for the pick and roll situation. That's something I was saying this before. Popovich, one of the coaches that he really admired, and I think he took most of his coaching philosophy from was Jerry Sloan.
Right.
Because Jerry Sloan was another one of those coaches that old school pick and roll perfected that in all those Utah teams.
And Utah hasn't been the same.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same. And even when he had lesser talent, like the Karolinkos, and then the lists go on, and of those teams, and they still won 50 to 60 games in the West, which is hard to do.
Here's the thing: fundamentals are there for a reason. The Red Auerbachs, the Jerry Sloans, the Greg Popovich. These guys are almost a dying breed, and I hate to use that.
It came down to coaching at the end.
Because Eric Spoelstra is the complete opposite. Because he thrives on players' talent. People like Popovich thrive on fundamentals. There's nothing pretty or fancy about it. You get a dunk off or something like that, is get back and play defense. You don't see those dudes cheering, doing all types of animations, nothing like that. A little beat in the chest.
Even with the fundamentals, if you go back to all of those UCLA teams, it all began with fundamentals. And that's what's important.
Passing the balls.
Just becoming that playing together as a cohesive unit, spreading the ball around, and taking excellent shots. Not only
high percentage.
High percentage.
All right, so hold on. All right, so here's the juicy part. What do you think LeBron should do with this weird contract and his opt-out over his last 2 years?
All three of them have the option to opt out. They really him, Chris Bosh.
If you were GM, how would you reconstruct this Miami team? Would you leave it alone? And would you ask them to reduce their salaries?
They can choose to opt out if they want to.
No. The question is this: everybody knows that. I'm asking you. What would you do with this team? Who would you ship? Who would you move? Who would you trade? Leave it alone? What would you do?
I would sacrifice Dwayne Wade. Honestly, I would bring someone that can equally take over the game. Someone like a Carmelo Anthony. That everyone that said it wouldn't work well, but like even going back to Durant and Westbrook, they said that wouldn't work, but they can work. And I mean, honestly, they don't play together as a complete team. But like I said, either one of them has the ability to equally take over a game.
Right.
And same thing with Carmelo. Carmelo's not going to take the back seat to LeBron James, just like when Dwayne Wade said this is LeBron's team, when it was your team before LeBron came. So he kind of took the back seat and he allowed LeBron, and I mean, he allowed this to be LeBron's team. LeBron, to be the man and go to him in clutch situations.
Well, that's a very ballsy business move. Why I'm saying that? Because you almost, when a player's there and he plays his heart out and gives you 3 championships and sacrifices his body for the team and does these things and try to rehab and get back, and it's been an outstanding. It's been an outstanding citizen. When you trade somebody like that, you get your fans kind of sometimes they'll boo you as your owner, but when you're talking about business and what's best for a team, this sport is evil. When you get into your early to mid 30s in this league, because if you can't run with these young boys that come in their early 20s and teens, well, actually in their teens, they're coming in at 19.
They're not out of high school anymore.
No. So at 19, you can be in the league now. 1 year college ball. 20, you don't. A player like D Wade who has tens of thousands of minutes, as opposed to a young boy that's got hundreds of minutes, you can't keep up, and you're expensive. And he's $42 million over the next 2 years for 10 points a game, for 40 games a season. It makes no sense mathematically. So what you would do is you would breathe life into D Wade by trading him to somebody trying to contend.
Even he can restructure his contract.
I say
transfer money. All 3 of them would have to.
They really want to bring
another superstar, someone like a caliber of Carmelo Anthony, trying to lower him down here. All 3 of them would have to reconstruct their contract along with.
They would all have to drop
Birdman.
He's not
they would all have to take.
He already expressed. I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah. But still,
they would all have to drop down to $14 million.
His expiring contract.
And Melo would too. Melo's made a lot of money.
But in order for them, all 3 of them would have to. The big 3 would have to restructure their contracts, take the extra money coming into this next season, in order for them to lower someone like Carmelo in.
If D-Wade could drop to 10, Chris Bosh could drop to 12. LeBron could drop to 16, and he get Carmelo for
because you think of it with his Nike contract and all his with Sprite and all his other endorsements through Beats.
Right.
He just recently made $30 million.
$3 million
Also because Apple bought them for $3.2 billion. And honestly, he was cut a check for $30 million for the share that he did have in Beats. So, besides his Nike contract and his other endorsements, he's good. So he can afford to take less money. Now, can Chris Bosh and Dwayne afford to take less money when they did get LeBron there?
Right. But it paid off with 2 championships. But they got exposed because they didn't have the bench depth. And their bench was a little old in some areas, and especially a big one.
They could have utilized a bench.
Yeah, Eric Spoelstra made some really bad moves, bringing in James Jones.
The same 9.
Rashard Lewis was okay, but he needed more grease on the wheels coming into the
championship with his size, him being 6'10", with him being a good shooter.
I didn't like what LeBron. I didn't agree with what LeBron said about how we told Rashard Lewis to take his shots and live with the consequences. I thought it was a really, really bad answer. The ball should be in your hands, LeBron. You should be taking 20-footers, 15-footers, bunnies.
He was playing unselfish.
I understand that. See, that's the big problem. See, when he was a little selfish, they won 2 championships.
Yeah. Right, he didn't go into assassin mode.
He never
didn't have that aggression. He could have, but he just didn't. He just really entrusted in his teammates, which I think that was their downfall because no one equally stepped up. LeBron did what he had to do in that series each night, but it was just everything else was solely relying on not only their bench but his other teammates. If you look at the big three, no one showed up besides LeBron.
Ways he could have showed up even more. All right, let's end it on this. Who do you think is going to be returning for next year's finals? I'm sorry. Who do you think is going to be in next year's finals? Let me not say returning.
That's going to be tough, because I can't. Miami can, depending on their continuity, what they do during the off season, if they improve as a team, or if they keep the big three intact. So that's going to be interesting. But they can easily come out the East. Or you could have a Chicago, or you could have an Indiana in that equation.
Okay.
But from the West, it can easily
be OKC.
It could be OKC. You have the Clippers in the equation, and you can't count out San Antonio.
Well, people are going to look. Free agency is
the Lakers, if they manage to get someone like a Kevin Love, they're in that sweepstakes also. So, but I don't know. Depending on how Kobe coming back off there.
I don't even know if Kobe makes it through the season.
Yeah, makes it through the season.
So the West is real shaky. You say the East.
I think.
Give me a solid prediction.
I don't have a solid prediction as of yet. I have to wait preseason. I have to make my preseason prediction.
All right, I say is this: coming out the East are the Boston Celtics, who are going to sweep whoever gets coming down. I say coming out the East will be LeBron James and the Miami Heat, and it will be another rematch with the San Antonio Spurs because they're going to load up with more players, and Miami needs to follow suit. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned for part 3 when we weigh in on the NFL.